Okay guys, so in this video we are going to preserve state. So first of all, let's open our project and just go to the FE folder. And in the FE folder, you can expand the source folder, and inside the source folder you have a hooks folder. So let's open the dynamic form. In this video, we are going to add a state to this functional component. And it is not a class component, it's, as you see, it's a functional component that holds no state object. This component basically, what it does, it takes some labels and then is iterating through these labels, and for every label we will be creating a text field, an input field. So this is a very simple component, a functional component that we want to add a state to this component. So first of all, let's just go and start our application. So as we know, we can start our application by opening our terminal, and in our terminal we want to go to the FE folder, cd FE. Inside the FE we are just going to do sudo npm start. Okay guys, so if you start your application, you will get this screen over here. So in this screen we have just two fields, the first name, the last name. We have an add button and we have a switch. So what we have here is we have a dynamic form. So you can click on this button and just add a new text input field. So this is what we are going to do now. We are just going to implement the logic where we will be adding new text fields to our dynamic form. So whenever we click on this button, a new input field will be added in our form. So let's go back to our code. So as we said, this dynamic form takes some labels from its parent component, that it is the home page. We can see the home page over here is rendering our dynamic form, and it passes to the dynamic form the labels. And in the labels we have the first name and the last name. So let's go to the dynamic form component, and here what we want to do is we want to hold a state that will contain all our fields. So when the user will click on this button over here, we will just add a new text field, a new field. So first of all, we want to hold a state in our component. So in order to use that, we are going to use the useState hook. So if you go up to your component, you can just import the useState, and the useState you can import it from the React package. And now we can use the useState. So the useState, what it does, it will declare for us a variable with the value that we will pass to the useState. So we want to hold an array that will contain all the fields inside. So every entry in our array will be a string that will describe what is this field. The first value of our state variable will be an array with the first name and the last name. So we declared a new array that will hold this value. And as you can see here, we have this argument is the initial state. So this is the initial value of our state object. So we want to access this state object. So in order to access this state object and later to update it, we first of all need to take what this use state will return. So the use state will return for us the fields. So the use state will return an array. It will always return an array with two entries. The first one is our fields. So the first entry of our array is the value or the actual state object. So we will get this array over here. And the second entry of this array will be the setter of this array. So we will call it set fields. So again, the use state will return an array, and this array will hold the fields and the setter of these fields. So this is the convention of using the use state. As we saw before, we are getting these fields from the home page. If you go to the home page, we will have our labels, and our labels are the last name and the first name. So this array over here. So we can just remove these hard-coded values and just pass to the use state the labels that we are getting from our props. So we are just passing the array to the use state. So the use state can use this value for the initial state value. So in this way, we just made this component hold a state object that will describe our fields. So let's go take our fields, and we want to render these fields and not the labels from the props.